Welcome back to Make It Mondays, and this week I'm working on a new shirt, and I'm working it with this yarn, which is rayon from bamboo, so it is very soft, very drapey, but it also has no stretch. So I'm having to do a couple of things to give it a little bit of stretch, just so it can form a little bit better to my body. So I've gotten some of it started. Let me turn everything around and show you how it's going. So I've worked for quite a bit. I've actually almost finished the first ball of yarn. But keep forgetting to turn on the camera. So that is the lower part of the shirt. And then this is the part that's going to go up over the bust line and over the shoulder and around to that same point on the back. So it is a knit purl pattern. So I have knit 1, I'm going to purl 7 and then knit 1, and then that continues all the way up. And then it keeps working in diagonal rows of purl stitches until it meets, and then it works back. So that's the basic of what's going on here. So because this yarn is not stretchy on its own, I'm having to do a little bit of garter stitch to give it a little bit of stretch to go over the waist. And then this line is going to be the center front. So I'll come back and show you later how that works up. But I am not almost halfway done with this shirt. I'm only about a third of the way done. So I'm having to add another color. So I have a second skein of this color, but I don't have a third skein. So it's probably going to be this color that's going to work up on the sides. So you'll see how that works up in a little bit. It's going to be added on the knit row after the diamonds are done. So at the first part of the next garter stitch section. And I will be back a little bit later to show how the shoulder / sleeve is finished off before the sides are then put together. So I will be back in just a little bit. So this isn't going exactly the way I thought it would. This is almost all of one skein of yarn. So I don't know if it's going to end up being the purple on the sides or a different color. But in order to start figuring that out, I need to put the second skein of yarn on the other side of center. So I'm going to start right in this last cast on. Because I do cable cast on, mine do just look like slipped stitches. I'm going to lay the yarn over and pull up a loop. And then I'm going to continue to do basically that all the way up until I get to the neck opening. This is going to be a vertical slit neck opening, so it's not going to be like super high neck, and at least not in the front. So I'm going to keep casting on like this and then doing cable cast on for the neck opening section, and then working exactly as I did before. So alternating if the diamonds are starting point or edges, and then doing the garter stitch for the waist section. So I will keep going and be back when it is time to connect the next color and work towards the side seams. So be back in a bit. So here I am at I'm about to bind off for the arm's eye. So slipping, and then I'm actually going to knit all the way up to where the arm's eye is going to start. So what I'm knitting now is actually going to turn into an eventual bind off edge. But it's going to be a 3 needle bind off with the underarm section. So going to knit all the way up. I'm going to go up to here, and then I'm going to bind off all the way around. So I'll be back in just a sec to show how the bind off is going. So I'm a couple stitches into the bind off, and this one I'm doing a little differently than normal, partially because this yarn is so easy to split and partially because it is slippy as heck. So I'm slipping the stitch from the right hand needle back to the left hand needle, and then I'm knitting through both. This works for me because my stitches are actually just twisted that way. For a lot of other people, it's not going to work quite as well. So I'm just going to do that literally all the way across. Then when I get to the end of the arm's eye, I'm going to continue knitting normally, and then working back and forth in that section, so the section that corresponds to this on the other side, until I've completed another one of the diamond sections. And then I'm going to do a 3 needle bind off with this, and I'll show you how everything looks when it's all done. And here it is all done. I'm going to tip the camera down ever so slightly. That is what the waist looks like. There are a couple things I would love to change, so I wish it was all one color. Because of the nature of how I get some of my yarn, that's not always a possibility. Or if I had known that it was going to have to be 2 colors, I wish I'd put the mauve in the middle rather than on the outsides. But that being said, it is a very, very soft shirt, and it's a very lightweight shirt, so it's going to be great as we're moving towards summer. And if you've made it this far and you want to see more, please hit subscribe. If you like this video, please hit like, and please comment with what other projects you would like to see. And I will see you next time on Make It Mondays. Bye!